Saint Therese of Lisieux by Annalisa Piccinini. Saint Therese was born as Marie-Françoise Therese Martin on January 2, 1873, and was baptized 2 days later on January 4th. She had 4 sisters, Marie-Louise, Marie-Pauline, Marie-Céline, and Marie-Léonie, and each one of them became nuns. Therese's parents, Louise and Zélie Martin, adored all of their children, and they loved spending time with their family. After Zélie Martin died of breast cancer in August 1877, the family moved to Lisieux. While their father worked, Therese and her sisters would go to school. Each day after school, Therese would run to her father's office, and the two of them would go on walks and visit a new, different church every day. They became extremely close, and Louis called Therese his little queen. Pauline and Marie Martin both joined the Lisieux Carmel Convent in 1886, and Léonie Martin joined the Visitation Convent at Caen in 1889. When Therese was not yet 15, she asked her father if she could become a nun, and he helped her accomplish her request. Therese approached the Carmelite authorities many times to ask for permission to enter the convent. They told her to come back when she was 21. She then went to Bishop Huguenon of Bayeux to ask for his permission, but he said no, because he did not understand why a girl as young as Therese would want to enter a life as a nun. The determined Therese decided that she would go to the Pope in Rome to ask for permission to join the convent, because if he said yes, then the Carmelite officials could not refuse her. Pope Leo XIII told her that she could enter, because it was God's will. Therese was so grateful that she did not want to leave the Holy Father's presence that the papal guards had to carry her away. On January 1, 1888, the head of the Lisieux Carmel told Therese she was allowed to enter the monastery, but she had to be patient and wait a little longer. On April 9, 1888, an emotional, determined Therese Martin said goodbye to her father and her home. She told people she was going to live forever and ever with Jesus. She was only 15 years old. The only thing that was sad on the day Therese left was the worsening condition of her father, who had developed cerebral arteriosclerosis. While Therese left to start her new life as a Carmelite nun, her sister Céline stayed home and took care of her father. Therese received her Carmelite habit on January 10, 1889, and her father Louis was able to attend the ceremony. She was now an official Carmelite nun and could spend the rest of her life serving God. Therese spent the rest of her life at the Lisieux Carmel. Her fellow sisters recognized her as a good nun. Sister Therese worked in the sacristy, cleaned the dining room, painted pictures, wrote poems, and lived the intense community prayer life. Superiors appointed her to instruct the novices of the community. Therese was surrounded by older women all day, and she was expected to act like them even though she was so young. For the most part, Therese did her work perfectly and had one of the best attitudes of the nuns. But there were some days when she acted her age. She would frequently fall asleep during prayer, and she was embarrassed by her lack of ability to stay awake during chapel with the religious community. She characterized this by noting that, just as parents love their children as much while asleep as awake, God loves her even though she often slept during the time for prayers. In 1896, Therese started to cough up blood, which meant tuberculosis, but continued to work without telling anyone what was happening to her. She became so sick that a year later people started to notice, and soon everybody knew that she wasn't doing well. Even though Therese was in so much pain, she tried to remain smiling and cheerful. Her one dream was to help us on earth while she was in heaven. Therese died on September 30th, 1897, at the age of 24. She felt it was a blessing to die at exactly that age, because if she were a man, that is the age she would have been ordained. Therese's last words were, "My God, I love you." She was buried on October 4th, 1897 in a cemetery at Lisieux, next to her parents, but in March 1922, her body was returned to the Lisieux Carmel. Therese was beatified a saint on April 29, 1923, in St. Peter's Basilica. Her feast day is on October 3rd. Saint Therese is still sending miracles, her shower of roses to earth to this day. There are many parishes dedicated to Saint Therese. Many meditations from her writings are read by many people within the Catholic Church. Saint Therese is often represented with an armful of roses because of her promise, "After my death, I will let fall a shower of roses." In 1997, Pope John Paul II named Saint Therese a Doctor of the Church.